Hi everyone. Today we are looking at the induction and introduction to our course, that is CET, and we are doing it at CT skills. So this PowerPoint is specifically for CT skills, and the course started on the 10th of January 2023. So if you missed the induction session, here is the PowerPoint that we used. So you may miss our faces, but luckily we have our PowerPoint, and hopefully it will be okay to guide you on how we did the induction and introduction. So welcome, and let's get started. Let's get started on the course and see how we go about. So we started with the objectives, or rather sometimes people call them the outcomes. What do we want at the end of this session? We want to highlight the key points and the requirement for this qualification, and that is about getting started. So that's our general aim. Now we go down to the specific objectives. We will do introductions and we will have starters. So if you are in the session, we did take part in this, as you will see later. And we will be outlining the course in brief, and then how it will be delivered, where and when. Then we will also be discussing, or rather outlining, the qualification requirements and guided learning hours. And also we need to have a look at the employer training needs. I've been asked that we develop our digital skills, and these digital skills will be shared development of digital skills between you, the participant, and I, so that we can work together. My job is to facilitate the training, at the same time to help us to learn a few of these digital skills. We will be discussing the initial assessments, because the initial assessment is one of the requirement. Yeah, we can go deep into diagnostic assessments, but that's not a major requirement in this course. Initial assessments are a requirement so that we can see at what levels everyone is working in their English, maths, and for ICT as well. We can be able to do that. We may not do a standard digital initial assessment skills, but we will do some tasks just to see how good we do them. Then we will be able to highlight the mandatory and optional units for this course, and then we'll be able to move on to the assessment criteria and how we will start creating our e-portfolio. As part of the requirement, we will discuss the need for a reflective diary or a journal. We need to be able to be reflecting either during the course what we are doing for the next about 16 weeks. Yes, we will need to be able to reflect on our learning, and at the same time you can include your own reflection in your teaching sessions. We are supposed to kind of accumulate up to 30 plus hours. So either way, the reflection for the sessions as well as the reflection for your own sessions, it's important. We need a teaching log. We need to be able to show the number of hours we are teaching, and the details of that we will discuss as we go along. One of the jobs I'm supposed to do is to conduct a learning needs analysis, but some of your managers will be helping me in collating the initial assessments and the diagnostic assessments, and these ones need to go in a folder for induction on a smart assessor. So we will be having two folders. One is for the induction, and within that we will have our ILP, our initial assessments, and also any other tasks that are related to the induction process. The ones that are related to the course, we can always collate them later in our portfolio. And together with that, we need to be able to agree our learning and development needs. So at some point, we will be working on our ILP, setting our own SMART goals, and we will consider learning styles and other additional learning needs. Then we will also have a look at the learner handbooks. One of the handbooks that you need is the one from your organization on how to conduct yourself, and the other one is the textbook. And you can have several textbooks as long as they have the criteria that we will be studying, and you are able to pass your assessments. So for those who are in the session, we had a starter activity where we were asking for names and also an interesting aspect of who you are. And also you could visit Canva onboarding plan, and you can add those there. Yes, so the link is shared here. So if you would like to ask for the link after watching this video, or watching this presentation, please do ask for the link so that you can either add your interesting aspect of you, who you are, your name, and your job title. Add them there so that we can have an idea of who you are and what interests you. The other one is you can go to Kahoot Home, so ask the Esther or your tutor for the link for the Kahoot, and there also you can get to know a little bit more about your tutor. So these are part of applying our digital skills. Canva and Kahoot will be our very first kind of digital skills that we are applying. Okay. So after that, we want to move on. We moved on to discuss about two digital skills you have learned or used since lockdown. And in this session, it's about thinking, pairing, and sharing. So we can use again here breakout rooms to be able to do this. Yeah, pair people together and then we share about the two digital skills. In our session, we did use the chat on Teams to be able to say the two digital skills that you learned over lockdown. And also, we were also talking about what is it that you do to combat distractions when working from home. So I would like you to think about how do you keep interest, or how do you concentrate on the work that you need to do without being distracted when working from home. And then I did ask about what are your concerns and expectations for this course. Now, these aspects of these 3 points, I would like them to be written down if you haven't done them, because I would like to be able to have a look at them. So if they go in the induction folder, that will be fabulous. So two digital skills that you have learned since lockdown or during lockdown, and then one tip for combating distractions, and then what are your concerns and expectations for the course. Maybe a couple of each will be fantastic. Now, the course in brief. This course is education and training qualification, and it is through CET and guilds. And we have a delivering plan that will be going fortnightly. That is every 2 weeks, and we will be doing this on Teams. And I have sent a delivery model. Yeah, a draft delivery model has been emailed to you. So have a look, just have an overview of what will be covered during those sessions. The start date, like we said, is the 10th of January, and we have a plan to end it by the 22nd of August. That's our plan. The main textbook there you can see is the Certificate of Education and Training by Anne Gravels and Susan Simpson. There are other books that look exactly or have the same key points as this one. So if you have a copy of that, you can use that as long as they help you to meet the criteria. Now, like I said earlier, there is an employer training need, and that one is to develop digital skills. This is also your own need because we need to be able to change with times. Yeah, we need to be able to have as many digital skills to be able to apply in our own online and blended delivery, and at the same time we can also learn these digital skills to help us in our day-to-day lives in the way we do life. Okay, so one of the things I would like you to familiarize with is the Teams interface and the functions of each tool, if wherever it's needed, so we can be able to use that to be able to use the video, the chat, the reactions, the sharing, the collaboration. Have a look at the other apps within Teams, and if you've never used them, maybe try and see what they do. Practice along as many functions as you can. And I know most of you know how to create Teams groups. So if you have the authority or the capacity to do that, still that's part of digital skills development. So have a go and do that. Okay, we have the qualification and the guided learning hours. Okay, according to the qualification itself, we have up to 140 guided learning hours, and this will be done according to the way the qualification is laid out. So I will send you a link of the qualification guidance. Please have a look at how much credit for each unit and how much guided learning hours are there in broken down as per unit. Now, like I said, we need to discuss the initial assessment. Initial assessment of each learner, Maths, English, and ICT should be made before the start of this program to identify if the learner has any specific training needs, also to help us in supporting and guidance that you may need when working towards this qualification, and also to have a look at any units that you may have already covered, which could be used as credit transfer for this qualification. And also it will help the appropriate type of, to deliver at an appropriate level for this qualification. Diagnostic assessment in maths and English, like I said, they're not mandatory, but they are always good so that you can know the areas that you may need to develop in future where you might need them. Now, my recommendation here is that have a look at why we conduct initial assessments, and I've shared a link. If this link is not open here, please, I can always share this PowerPoint with you, and I have shared with some of you. So differentiating between initial and diagnostic assessment. If you don't have a copy of these, please let me know and I will send you so that you can be able to open the links. Now we have mandatory and optional excuse me, units. We have 5 mandatory units and we have 3 optional units. When I say 3 optional, it doesn't mean that you choose not to do them. No, all of them add up. The 3 optional units were chosen because they match up, or rather they complement the other 5 units. Some of them will be cross-referenced and it helps us to meet all the credit count that we require for this qualification. Please have a look again at the qualification code, CET and Guilds, and the qualification code is 6502/41 or -41. And there will be also 2 different or 2 separate documents for the mandatory units and for the optional units. Now, the first unit is 301. 301, and it's to do with understanding roles and responsibilities and relationships in education and training. In this unit, which will be starting in our session 2, or rather the main session, we can call it session 2 or session 1, is to identify and discuss the roles, responsibilities, and relationships within education and training. And we will be discussing how to maintain a safe and supporting learning environment, and then we'll be looking at how to promote appropriate behavior and respect. Then we will look at how to work with other professionals. As part of that, we'll also be looking at legislations, regulatory requirements or regulations, and also the codes of practice. And we will also look at how to promote equality and value diversity. Out of all this, you are able to do your continuous professional development. Please remember to log that on your Smart Assessor on your CPD. The things that you learn from each unit, or the aspects that you learn from each unit, put them on CPD in summary. Now, you can use the points as I've given you. Yeah, you can just copy these notes, these key points, and then you can always update them on what it is that you learned from them. Okay, this is a brief guidance and you can use that. The next unit will be unit 401, and it is to do with planning to meet the needs of learners in an education and training. And we will be identifying and discussing initial and diagnostic assessments in the same way you have also started with your initial and diagnostic assessments. We'll be negotiating and agreeing individual learning plans. This now is for your learners. You're thinking about your own learners. So you need to go back and find the evidence that you have collected for your own learners for initial and diagnostic assessment, how you negotiated and agreed individual learning plans with your learners. And then the other thing we'll be looking now at is to design our own schemes of work to be able to meet these needs and to be able to deliver the units that you're going to deliver, just in the same way I am doing CET. So design your schemes of work, and if you already have a copy, we will be looking at that and updating it alongside so that at the end of the course you have a complete schemes of work. Then you'll be designing your teaching and learning lesson plans. You will be also you'll be able to discuss also or identify challenges when planning, and we will be discussing those. What are some of the challenges you face when you're planning to meet the needs of the learner in education and training? We will be looking at how to implement the minimum core. When I say the minimum core, I'm thinking about English, I'm thinking about maths, and I'm thinking also about ICT. At the end of each unit, you need to evaluate your own practice. Yeah, when you deliver a lesson, you need to be able to evaluate that. When you design your schemes of work, you need to be able to evaluate that and review where necessary and do the changes as you go along. The other unit now that we will be doing is delivering education and training, and this is to do with identifying and discussing the teaching and learning environment, what happens within that environment. We will be looking at the teaching and learning theories, and we will also be looking at different learning approaches, how we do communication, using information and communication technology. You see, the digital skills are coming handy here. And again, we will be implementing the minimum core, and you will be evaluating your own learning, or rather your own practice, sorry. The other units, all of them are related to each other, is about assessing learners in an education and training environment. Excuse me. So one of the things we'll be doing is to identify and discuss the assessment in education and training, and then to kind of discuss different types of assessments and different methods of assessment. We will also have a look at, excuse me, peer and self-assessment. So how we can assess each other and how we can assess ourselves and on the way we are learning and in the way we are delivering learning at the same time. Then we'll have a look at making decisions and giving feedback. How do we decide that this is a pass, this is a refer, or this one is a fail? So how do we make those decisions and how do we give feedback? And the important aspect of assessing is maintaining records. And also remember, in each of the units, we have to remember to implement the minimum core. So you do need to show how you've done this in your assessing learners in education and training. Please always evaluate your own practice. The other unit is about using resources for education and training, and it's to do with finding out what resources that you use in teaching and learning. Okay, and then we will look at people as resources, and then sometimes we do use other types of resources, handouts and visual presentations and all that. We'll have a look at that, and then we'll have a look at the way we select and adapt resources that we use and how these resources meet the individual learner needs. And of course, don't forget to implement the minimum core and evaluating your own practice. The other unit now among the optional units is to identify individual learning and development needs. As you can see, they cross over each other. And this one is to do with now assessing your occupational competence. And we are looking at the actual work that you did. So your managers will be looking at the records that you have kept for your learners, yeah, how you identified individual learning needs and their development needs, how you conducted the learning needs analysis for your learners, how you demonstrated or how you evidenced agreeing with individual learners, how you evidenced an understanding of the principles and practices of learning needs analysis for individual, and then how you implemented the core minimum, and also how you evaluated your own practice. So they need to see that an observation will be done to demonstrate at least this in 2 different occasions. Okay. So the other units is to do with you and the specialist delivery. Techniques that you use for your specific courses that you teach. These can include also special needs or additional learning needs, how you support them. So you need to identify the learning needs that can be met through the use of specialist delivery techniques of area of specialization, and then plan the use of specific learning activities to support specialist delivery techniques, and then use resources to support specialist delivery techniques and learning activities, then implement the core minimum, evaluate your own practice. Okay, one other unit that we need to do is evaluating the learning programs. This is like now the culmination of everything. Yeah, so plan the evaluation of the learning program and its effectiveness to show how you implemented the learning program, including the minimum core, and again evaluating your overall now practice. And this is where you ask yourself, how did I do it? Why did I do it? When did I do it? With whom? And was there subjectivity? Was there objectivity? You're looking at a contribution to evaluating learning, e.g., self-evaluation, external monitoring and feedback, internal monitoring and feedback, and so on. You're looking at all the things that you have done so far, yeah, and how have they helped you, and how can you do things differently, and what are some of the requirements during that time. Take your time to look at the indicative content. It might help you on what to include in your evaluation of the programs. Now, in all of this, we will be putting together an e-portfolio, and that e-portfolio will be a record of how you met the criteria plus any additional requirements. So each candidate must build a portfolio of evidence, and this one will be built on Smart Assessor, and it will enable each unit to be assessed independently. It will enable centers to claim your qualification, and also it will show the evidence that you have taken part at least for a minimum of 30 hours of practice and 3 hours of observed and assessed practice, which will meet the required standard of practice. Now, like I said at the beginning of the session, we need a reflective diary. Yeah, or alongside as we go along the learning. I'm repeating myself a little bit. Yeah, you need to have a reflective diary that tracks your progress, that covers evaluating your own practice and assessment criteria for each unit, and then a teaching log. Some people have said you have a time log on the on Smart Assessor. Please put as much details as you can, because that saves you now on the evaluating of the program, because you can cross-reference and say, look, this is what I did. As you reflect, you review, and then you make adaptations. Let the record be there. Put as much details as possible so that it saves you on some of the work. Now, there is a link here you can follow, 14 reasons why teachers should keep a reflective diary. That will be a motivation factor to encourage you to do that. Okay. Now, with the conducting of learning and training needs analysis, like I said, some of your managers will help me to do this. We need to identify your individual learning and development needs. That one I will work around with you. And then we will have an individual learning plan, which we are going to place in the induction folder. And we need to revisit your initial assessment and diagnostic assessments to be able to decide what are some of the goals that we need to kind of plan and put together for your success. Now, some of the ways we identify our own learning needs, like I said, it's through the initial and diagnostic assessments. I also would encourage you to do personality tests, because they do give you areas of strengths and areas of development. Now, the areas of strengths can also be used as part of development, because you need to apply your strengths where they need to be applied. The areas of development also, you need now to be able to find ways that you can improve on that. When you're self-aware or of your strengths and your areas of development, it can help you to be able to deliver more effectively, or to do your job more effectively, or to understand yourself when you're dealing with others, when you're working with other professionals or with the learners. So one of the quizzes that I recommend is called a Buzz quiz on icould.com, and the other one is personality tests based on Young and Briggs Myers typology. Please have a go at that and then see what it brings up. And you can also do a SWOT analysis, and you can be able to find a lot of templates here, or just draw a page. Divide your page into 4 boxes and put your strengths, your weaknesses or other areas of development, your opportunities and threats, or rather the barriers that could stop you from learning or from doing your job. Think around that. Okay, you can use organizational design templates, or you can create your own templates in particularly the SWOT analysis and the individual learning plan. So this is combined. The individual learning plans can be combined with the reflective diary depending on how we will approach this. So I'll be looking at what you have kind of uploaded in the system, and we'll be able to use that as either the reflective diary also as part of the individual learning plans, we will decide on how to go about this. It's about agreeing with you on how to do it. And we can use the organizational designed templates, or you can create your own. Learning styles are essential because I want to be able to know how people learn in the same way you would like to know how your own students or learners learn. And you can use this link here. Yeah, it is within this the PowerPoint that I sent it to you. Use it to be able to test your own learning styles. There are multiple ways people learn. Yeah, even this image here is showing different ways that people learn, but let's use the standard one that we know, the VARK, yeah, so that we can have an idea where do you fall. So visual, yeah, auditory, reading and writing, and then kinesthetic, practical, all those. Yeah, let's have an idea. Okay, we do have the textbook, like I had said, the Certificate of Education and Training. That's the recommended book by Anne Gravels and Simpsons. Please also have a look at your organizational CT skills, organizational code of conduct handbook, what to do in case of all the issues that are around learning, and also the same handbook you normally use with your learners. So the key points to take with you today is to look back at the general objectives and the aims. See slide 22. Please complete your personality tests. They will help you in setting your goals and also for your individual learning plan. Please see the onboarding slide. Yes, it's about you. We want to know a little bit about you. What do you do for, okay, what is your job role? What is one thing that interests you? And we would like also to have some ideas on how, I mean, who you are, sorry, not how, who you are, okay. And then we need to complete the initial assessments and other areas for goal setting. Have a look at slide 7, and then start creating your own portfolio on Smart Assessor. And you can also see example templates on onboarding slides. And if you have your own copies or own examples of templates that you can use, for example, for SWOT analysis, please use those. Now, I would like you to start reading ahead for Unit 301, Understanding Roles and Responsibilities and Relationships in Education and Training. I would like you to start reading because that will be the next unit with the main assignment. And then we need to also to check out the Teaching and Learning website by Anne Gravels, and also have a look at the textbook. Yeah, if you haven't bought a copy, you could maybe gift yourself a book that is Anne Gravels' book, and then start looking at how to write essays. I like to use the PEEL method, and the PEEL method is to do with the point, yeah, example or evidence, explain, and then link it to the topic, learning and, yeah, training and learning. Always reference the source of information within the text and also at the end of the unit or other assessments. And please avoid plagiarism. Do not pass any other person's work as your own work. Okay, now we are about to finish, we're about to complete. Think about 3 skills that you have used today, and you can think about 3 digital skills and 3 other skills of your choice. I think they may end up being 6, but even if you combine just the 3, 2 digital, 1 other skill, I don't mind, but you can think up to 6, but at least 3 skills. And then please write down any 2 questions you still have about the course or this topic that I may have covered and maybe you needed clarity. Also, give one of your opinion about the resources used and maybe some ideas on how we can improve in future. I know this is a PowerPoint for starters. This is an information session, so don't worry so much. I just wanted to make sure you have the right information before we get started. And then we need to review the whole session. I will be reviewing what went well, what could be better, and what I will do next time, and what I'll do differently. But you also could review the whole session. I normally call it WWW, so you need to have a look at that. Please make sure you do that review, and you'll be doing in your own sessions as well. Last but not least, we are looking back at our objectives. Did we meet those objectives? So I'm looking at what we had planned to do Please have a look at whether we've met that. If not, you can always send me a question or something like that. Now, we do have a number of links that you need to have a look. It looks like it's too much. Some of these is what we've already used, but some of them are the links that you need to follow just to have an idea of where to get started and why we do certain things. Otherwise, thank you so much. I hope I have made a clear point of what it is that we are planning to do. And if you have any other questions, please do ask. Thank you so much, and looking forward to working with you for the whole CET qualification at CT Skills. Goodbye for now. See you soon. Bye bye.